people don't honor and look at nutrients with the same regard as food. Let's say, hey, I won't spend $30 on this supplement, but I'll go eat junk at some restaurant, and 4 hours later, I'm hungry again. So I could have spent $30 or $40 on some meal that maybe lasted me a day, when a bottle of vitamins could last you 15 days or 30 days.
Behind the practice.
Ryan, let's talk a little bit about what your next steps were. What got you into the clinician and the clinical side of things for where you are now?
Well, after graduating and coming back to the States, I saw the aspect of digestion issues and the dietary supplements that were available. And really, it's not what you eat, it's what you absorb. And so we started implementing IV nutrition. I worked with a lot of athletes. So, with my background in acupuncture and with injuries, we were doing sports medicine and also sports nutrition. And so our clinic was very comprehensive. We would do IVs. We would also look at other root cause issues that people had. And with some of the difficult cases, we would do ozone and ultraviolet blood irradiation for certain types of infections. People have also heard of high dose vitamin C as an oxidative therapy for immune conditions. And so I was doing liposomal vitamin C back in 1999, also working with sodium chlorite as well. And that gave me the opportunity to dive into longevity and anti aging medicine. I went to my first anti aging conference in 1999, met Dr. Goldman with the A4M, Anti-Aging for Medicine group. And that's where I got to work with Dr. Takamoto with really the first high dose liposomal vitamin C. And we're talking 20 grams at a time, an oral vitamin C, to work with different immune conditions and different infections. This really made me look at how most effective to get nutrients into the body. And so with that, with sports medicine, we were doing exercise with hydrogen therapy. A lot of people have heard of EWAT, which is exercise with oxygen, but we were using hydrogen water, hydrogen therapy, and this was in the early 2000s.
Mm.
And so trying to enhance the biological terrain of the body, meaning how the body can adapt to different conditions. The stronger you can make your digestive system and your antioxidant capacity really allows you to adapt to things, especially if you're an athlete and you're pushing your body to the edge. You want to take these extra little steps. And so I ran a clinic for about a decade. And then in 2008, I got a great opportunity to put my chemistry hat on and work as the scientific director for a GMP NSF contract manufacturing facility for dietary supplements and cosmetics. And so this let me see really behind the curtain of how products are made. Sadly, there's a lot of fluff in products. People try to make a product for $20 and there's maybe just a few dollars of active ingredients in the whole bottle. And then if there are, tough to absorb compounds like quercetin or resveratrol or CoQ10, these are all lipophilic, meaning they're fat loving compounds. And our body is a water loving compounds, and it's very hard to absorb those anti aging nutrient ingredients unless you have a superior delivery system. And so this is liposomal or IV or some other types. And so a lot of these compounds, if you don't have a delivery system to make them work, your absorption could literally be 5% or less. And so you really have expensive urine at that point.
Yeah.
And so back to this whole absorption aspect and trying to enhance. We live in a toxic world and we really have to fight for wellness. And it's a constant battle to stay healthy. Not that it's hard, it's just you can't just do it and think it's going to continue to last. It is a lifestyle. I don't really think there are any cures unless you keep up with the protocol and whatever that you did to get you there, your body can revert back. So there is a whole process of just maintaining that wellness.
I love that what you mentioned. A lot of times there will be a lot of supplements where in that $20 bottle, there's only actually a few dollars worth of anything that's going to actually do anything. So
Mm.
why do you think that is? Like how can somebody know when they're looking at a bottle that they're getting what they pay for?
Well, it's very tough. When someone sells you something retail at $20, keep in mind they're wholesaling it for around $10. And then there's the cost of goods and the bottle and the packaging and the marketing. So they can only put $5 or less in some type of product that's $20 unless they're somehow on sale and you're getting it for that price. And sadly, people don't honor and look at nutrients with the same regard as food. Let's say, hey, I won't spend $30 on this supplement, but I'll go eat junk at some restaurant, and 4 hours later, I'm hungry again. So I could have spent 30 or $40 on some meal that maybe lasted me a day, when a bottle of vitamins could last you 15 days or 30 days. So, but it's not about taking a bunch of stuff. It's about making sure you're absorbing what you're taking. And there's a lot of good things out there. However, we shouldn't think that we can fix or keep our body healthy for 20 or $50. Unfortunately, it is quite a bit. I mean, I take a handful of vitamins every day, and then I take a few liposomal tinctures and these types of things. So part of what I want to do is help teach people what to take, what is really necessary. If there's a product that has 25 ingredients and you're taking 2 capsules, how much do you actually think you're getting of each ingredient? And I don't need 10 milligrams of broccoli powder or 5 milligrams of spinach. That isn't going to do anything unless you're taking multiple grams of a green drink. And this is why a green drink typically comes in a 10-gram or 5-gram dose, because if you actually want the product to work, you actually have to take a decent sized dose. And so I think the American public or people in general have been indoctrinated that $20 or $30 is the top end limit for buying a multi-day amount of nutrients,
Mm,
when they will go get one coffee that may cost $6 or $7 and just gives them caffeine and flavor and carbohydrates. And I get it, those are yummy, but don't discount the nutrients that you should put in your body to fuel yourself. I mean, you
yeah.
are what you eat. If you don't put the fuel in your body, how can you perform great? And so uh, that led me down this whole path of you can't just hack your way to health. You have to have a comprehensive, methodical approach that addresses the root cause of digestion, elimination, absorption, and all of those factors then make the organism work great. I mean, look at it as plants.
Yeah.
If you don't feed the plant properly or give it some fertilizer, whichever, type of fertilizer you use, then the plant's not going to perform as good as it could. And so, yes, we can survive on the RDA amount of vitamins, or you may be able to thrive and optimize yourself on a much higher dose. If it's not toxic, you should use it. I mean, I love Oriental medicine, Ayurveda, these ancient healing, but modern nutrition has taught us a lot. So I take advantage of the new chemistry. And so that's why I work with different things. I mean, I have a patent around liposomes.
Yeah.
And so it really is how to make these things work best for us. And so when I got into formulations, I was able to put on my natural medicine hat, and I formulate products from a much different angle. And because I was the R&D director, I chose the raw material suppliers. And so I was able to see that just because it says vitamin C, it doesn't mean it's the best quality.
Hmm.
There's 3 or 5 grades of materials. You can have grade A, grade B, grade C, and worse, but they all read the same on the label.
Yeah.
And so I got to see behind the scenes of how products were made. And so not only did I pick the raw material suppliers, I wrote the SOPs for the project, even oversaw manufacturing. And so this allowed me to work with transdermal technology, liposomal manufacturing. And so I've been doing that for over 15 years. So I see products in natural medicine from a much different angle, not only using ancient healing methods such as Ayurveda or acupuncture or homeopathy, but then also using modern nutrition, looking at labs. And so we really take as I have grown and learned over all these years, I'm, almost 51, it's, it's not the same.
Yeah.
And so, like I mentioned before, our masters told us that traditional acupuncture doesn't work as great on the modern human because of all of our environment and our poor nutrition and these things. But once you get those things in place, now these older techniques do help. But
Yeah.
healing isn't fast. You can have progress pretty quickly, but if you have a long term condition, you really need to stick with it for a few months. If you try acupuncture, it's probably not going to work for you. But if you do acupuncture multiple times, then it probably will.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what really allowed me to go to Sri Lanka was when I first met my teacher. They were doing a tour in Georgia is when I met them in 93, 94, and they worked on my mom. My mom had migraine headaches for 35 years, and she had to take pain medication, and we have a religious family, and so taking pain medication was kind of like a no-no, but, she had to, and those
Hmm.
were the treatments for migraines, we're talking 30 plus years ago. But literally within a few treatments, and they even taught me how to stick the needles in the head for my mom.
Okay.
And we fixed her migraine headaches of 35 years that she was suffering from for 35 years. And it's been over 30 years of no migraines for her.
That's
And
amazing.
so when she started to get results really quick, and I said, I was 19 at the time. I was like, Mom, I want to go to Sri Lanka and live there and learn this medicine. She's like, well,
Yeah.
that's the only thing that's helped me. So yes, you can go.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of how I all started. And I still have clinics in Sri Lanka, and India, and Italy. And I travel multiple months out of the year. And so that's,
So,
that's my background.
yeah. So, for someone that's listening to this podcast and they say, man, this is incredible, where's the best place for them to start?
Digestion and elimination. If you're not pooping, and here we go, guys, if you're not pooping 2 to 3 times per day, you're constipated. My master told us you can't fill up the garbage can until you empty it, right? So if you're eating 2 to 3 meals per day, and they're decent sized meals, and they should be, you shouldn't eat like a rabbit. You should poop 2 to 3 times per day. And if you're like, oh, I poop once a day, but boy, if I don't drink coffee, I couldn't poop, you're constipated. That's as constipated as, you talk to a medical doctor, and typically they're, 50 pounds overweight and all these other things. They're like, well, if you only poop every, 3 or 4 days, you're okay. It's like, no. Does a baby poop? Like if a baby didn't poop for a day, you go, uh-oh, something's wrong. And what happens when your dog eats, then he goes out to poop. And if your poop doesn't look like a dog's poop, at least like solid and brown and has form to it, not just one long, huge thing, then this is God's and nature's way of telling you, hey, something's wrong. Like if it doesn't come out what normal poop should look like, and of course we'll have to educate people on what normal poop is supposed to look like, then you're slowly self-intoxicating and you can reabsorb those things.
Mm,
So our modern diet sadly has traces of antibiotics, pesticides. Our water has chlorine in it. All of these things harm the good bacteria in our intestines. And so you can get what's called dysbiosis, or too much bad bacteria to good bacteria. You can have a little bit, but not an overgrowth.
Mm.
And even men can have yeast and candida infections.
Mm-hmm.
Women have more safety mechanisms built in. So you guys will have symptoms that come up that "Oh, I have candida or I have some type of yeast issue." But men, it doesn't really show. Maybe when it's really bad, you'll get a yellow toenail. Well, that means years of this type of infection.
Mm.
So we want to keep the body and the intestines moving. So if you're not pooping twice a day, something's going on. Look at your diet, is typically that. But also, a really great product to take for the intestines is called monolaurin. Monolaurin is a simple fatty acid that can disable many yeast, candida, some viruses, and bacteria that can reside in our body. And the best form of monolaurin is made by a company called Medchem, and it's called lauricidin. They were actually the original discoverers of monolaurin, Dr. Kubara. And so now monolaurin is really strong, and you have to be careful when you first start taking it because you can definitely get a cleansing effect. So, what can you do if everyone needs to have their bowels move. Everyone should drink water with minerals. We drink a lot of reverse osmosis, but that means everything's been stripped out, and that's good. We've got the poisons out. But guess
Mm.
what? You got to put back some.
Yeah.
It's not just salt. You got to put back a little bit of calcium, a little bit of potassium,
Yeah.
almost these little trace minerals that would be in your water. If you go overseas and in Europe, they have all their waters fancy spring water, right? And it has a certain taste to it, but it's because it has these minerals in there, a profile.
Yeah.
So you want to drink slightly mineralized water. Definitely want to drink enough. Food sensitivities are a big thing. If you get tired after you ate, most likely your body is fighting your food versus absorbing it. So that's a whole rabbit hole in general. But food sensitivities, food allergies are kind of rare, but food sensitivities are rampant. And
Mm.
it's because we eat the same food over and over. Some foods will have egg, dairy, soy, corn, all in the same food. And they may eat that 3 times a day or 5 times a day, or.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so your body will become resistant to those things. And when your body resists the food that you eat, your energy levels aren't going to be there. And then it's creating all these inflammatory
Yeah.
cytokines, which lead to, more issues and potentially symptoms. So that's a challenge,
Yeah.
really making sure you can get the overall biological terrain enhanced. And this is multiple systems of your body. The stronger you can get that, the more resistant you are to injuries or disease, or you can recover faster. So, where to start? Start with what you eat. If you want to change your life, change the food that you eat, keep your bowels moving, make sure you remineralize your water, and then a good kind of immune gut support product is monolaurin to help with the intestines. So, that's a good
Awesome.
place to start.
Behind the Practice is produced by Next Step Social and Podcasting and hosted by Katie Brinkley and Sean Quintero. A special thank you to our guest today and everyone who made this episode possible. For more information or to be on the show, visit nextstepsocial.com.